All right, so now that you have heard that song, and for those of us in our virtual congregation watching, I will have the song linked at the bottom of the page. I do find that Spirit will guide me in amazing ways to find the ideas for sermons that I'm to present to all of you kind folks here. Now, today's sermon is actually a perfect example of that because my lovely wife, Deb here, who is also our DJ for the day, she is the one who had heard the song and told me that I had to listen to it because it was going to be a perfect song to base a sermon off of. And honestly, after listening to the song, I really do believe she's right. I think this is a beautiful song. I think it has a wonderful message. And I really do like this song. I was actually kind of surprised to find that this song is actually based on a poem by Clive James that originally was posted, or should I say was originally published in the New Yorker magazine back in 2013. Now don't worry though, I'm not actually going to quote the poem here today. I'm actually going to be quoting the lyrics to the song, so even better, right? Now for those of you who may be interested in hearing this song again sometime, the name of the song is called Be More Kind, as you could tell, and it is by a gentleman named Frank Turner. There were so many directions that I could have gone in with this sermon today. There really were. I could have gone more on a topic-oriented sermon, more talking about the different things that are going on in the world today and maybe addressed some of the changes that are happening globally right now. But I didn't necessarily feel like that was going to be an appropriate way to approach this sermon. Even though in this song, he does touch on some of the things happening globally at the moment, I think that for this sermon, we need to focus more on how we are being affected by everything that is happening globally. You know, there's so many things happening around us right now. There's so many changes occurring that a lot of us have a challenging time keeping up with it all. And just out of curiosity, now, how many of you felt like you could relate in some way to the lyrics of that song? All right, nice show of hands. I love the audience participation. Now, I mean, I think we've all felt like the truths that we thought we knew weren't necessarily as true as we'd hoped for. Simultaneously, I think we've all kind of felt the weight of the future, weighing down on us. And, if you think about how when we were all younger, and I know that chronologically a few of us may still be a little younger, but we all have some life experience. In a lot of ways, it felt like we knew what the world was about and how it worked. Now, for some of us like myself, I never really felt like I understood this world, but for a lot of other people, they can kind of relate to that feeling of knowing, well, this is what it's like and this is what it's about. And then you find out that everything that you thought you knew isn't necessarily accurate. It can be kind of a difficult thing to reconcile for people. If you've ever seen the movie Return of the Jedi, which I'm going way back right now, spoiler alert, Obi-Wan Kenobi actually tells Luke Skywalker that he really didn't lie to Luke, just that he was telling Luke the truth from a certain point of view. We've all had those situations in our lives where we find out that life is a lot more complicated than we thought it was. It's not an easy lesson to learn. And by the same token, how often have we felt that weight of our past on our decisions that we've made? How often have we gotten caught up in those woulda, coulda, shouldas that we all do? We've all been there. So many of us get caught up in that, or we'll start to dwell on areas where we should have gone left instead of going right, or on those situations in a past relationship that we thought was going to last forever and for whatever reason didn't. While it can be quite easy sometimes to think back to our past and our past decisions, the past is a part of who we are, but it's not necessarily where we are today. It can be so easy to reminisce or to dwell on the past, but it's really not a healthy place to be. It's not who you are anymore. And, even though it can be reassuring to think back to those times where you felt like everything had a little bit more of a flow to it or made a little more sense, it's always comforting to think back to those times when you're in crisis. It's much healthier for each of us to focus on where we are now. In a world that has decided that it's going to lose its mind, be more kind, my friends. Just try to be more kind. Do I really need to explain the meaning of that block of lyrics? Just kidding, of course I do. It's what I'm here for. Politics aside, there is such a great deal of fear in the world right now, and it is causing people to act in a way that they may not normally act. If you think about a lot of the people around you, they may be acting a little differently than you would have expected them to. It's much like in my Anxiety Lies sermon. I talk about how all of that boils down to anxiety's big brother, fear. How that really is the root cause of so many of our issues today. Not just globally, but even with those of us who in our individual lives. And much as that lyrical grouping, it's directed externally and asking us all to be more kind to each other, I truly feel it is also intended for the listener to be more kind to themselves. Remember to be more kind to yourself. We all need to do that. Do what you need to do to engage in what has become a buzzword for people: self-care. And yeah, I know, that's 2 words, but you understand the point of what I'm trying to make. That taking time to do whatever you need to do to unplug and recharge, which I know kind of sounds a little contradictory, but if you think about it, if you unplug from all the electronics, all of the things that keep us connected to the world right now, and just go within and just focus on relaxing and focus on what a beautiful day it is outside, it will help you to recharge your batteries. So I want to make sure when I say try to be more kind, I am not instructing you to not have appropriate boundaries with others, however. You can be kind to others without letting yourself get taken advantage of. And that is very important. You don't necessarily have to put on your proverbial cape and cover the pothole of the nearest person everywhere you go. I'm referring more to simple acts of kindness and simple courtesies. You know, the small things that really do make a difference every day. They really do add up to much bigger things in profound ways. Pardon me. They've started raising walls around the world now, like hackles raised upon a cornered cat. On the borders, in our heads, between things that can and can't be said, we've stopped talking to each other, and there's something wrong with that. In the world at large right now, people have started to build walls around themselves. Not just the physical walls that are being built, but the ideological ones. Not the mental and emotional walls are the ones that people have really started building for themselves because they are living in fear. Please don't make me say it again. Okay. Because you asked nicely, don't live in fear. It is a terrible neighborhood. Not only is the view awful, but your neighbor's paranoia and stress will keep you up all night. Move out of that neighborhood. Move into love. Live in love. It's much more peaceful. It's a much better neighborhood, and the view is so much better. But also, you know what? Honestly, the rent is cheaper. Living in love is actually much cheaper. It's much less of a toll that it takes on each of us. So before you go out searching, don't decide what you will find. Be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. In other words, before you really start looking out into the world, keep an open mind about the nature of things. Do not expect to find things a certain way, because as we've spoken previously in other sermons, what you focus on is what you are going to attract into your life, good, bad, and ugly. So if you're expecting to find the world a certain way, that's what you're going to ultimately find. So be open to allowing yourself to see things as they are, but above all, be more kind. As spiritualists, we are all aware that we are not alone. We are not alone in this world. We know that not only do we have our loved ones with us, but we have an infinite amount of what I like to call higher guidance at our disposal. We are not alone. We are surrounded by love and compassion at all times. You should know you're not alone, and trouble comes and trouble goes. How this ends, no one knows, so hold on. Now, in the song, he says that trouble comes and trouble goes, and I completely agree with that statement. We've all been through those experiences that we feel like it's never going to end or that things are never going to get better. But honestly, nothing is forever, not even the challenges that we face. He also says that we don't know how this will end. However, we actually do know how this will end. It will be wonderful and joyful and healing, and it will be a reunion with those of us who loved us when they were physically here on earth. The wind blew us both to sand and sea, and where dry land stands is hard to say. As the current drags us by the shore, we can no longer say for sure who's drowning or if they can be saved. I know everyone can relate to this feeling. We've all felt swept away at some point where we don't know exactly what we're going to do or, how we're going to get back on our feet again. And when you're out there floundering, like a lighthouse, I will shine. Be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. Yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Not only will spiritualism and its light of truth be there for you to find your way back to shore, so will I. So will this beautiful chapel and its wonderful congregation. That is one of the main reasons that I am actually here on earth, is to try and help and heal as many people as possible, including myself, to be honest. Know that you have a lighthouse, that beacon to guide you. Find the light. Even when it is dark and you feel like you are drowning, look for the light. Like a beacon reaching out to you and yours from me and mine, be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. Once again, if you aren't sure which way to turn, look to the light of spiritualist truth as well as the light of other people. If you need someone, if you are struggling, I am here for you. This Christabelle Spiritualist Church, we're here for you. Remember that you have help at your disposal to help light the way to solid ground again. That is actually one of the biggest joys of spiritualism for me personally, is that it is very much a science, philosophy, and religion that is rooted in truth, but also in the understanding that we are all finding our way back again. Back to light, back to love, back to kindness. In the meantime, as we are all trying to find our way back to the light, back to that love, that joy, we really do need to try and hold on and be more kind. And I know that this has been a cliche to talk about with a lot of people, about how we are going through our own challenges. But please, as you go forth this week, it is the utmost importance to try to be more kind, my friends. Just try to be more kind. Thank you.